Greetings everyone to game 1 of the best of 3 between Cuch, playing our green Protoss, spawning in the rightmost base, and ParAdoX, our yellow Zerg, spawning in the leftmost base on the map Slag Pits. I am Doctor, and I will be casting and playing in this tournament at some point, but not in this game. Well, not playing in this game. I will be casting this game, obviously, but not quite playing. That's at some later point. This is the first set in round 1 of the OBTL, and huge shoutouts to Nom Nom for setting up this tournament, getting everybody involved, and making everything happen. He was the one who set up all the videos, he made all the brackets, and chose all the maps that everybody was going to play on, and he put in a lot of work for this to happen, so we all love you, Nom. We thank you for this, and we hope to do this again in the future. It was a lot of fun. So, without further ado, let's get into this game. Cuch builds a pylon and then sends out the probe to scout, which is a pretty good idea on large maps like this. Large 4-player maps means that you don't know where he's going to spawn immediately. See, he checked this base up here. No, didn't quite get it this time, so he's going to check this one next. And then after that, he's going to check here. So, at worst, it could be several minutes before you know where he's going to be. And especially if you're fighting a Zerg player, it's very important to see what he's doing in the early game. He could be 6-pooling you, he could be getting mass amounts of speedlings, he could be getting roaches, and all of those strategies could be very difficult to deal with if you don't know what he's doing and make some miscalculation. Because any margin of error could mean that you're toast in a matchup such as Zerg versus Protoss. So ParAdoX throwing down this early spawning pool before his natural expansion. Cuch checking out this natural expansion, seeing if he's going to get anything here. Does he see the pool? No, he does not see the pool. So he's expecting this drone to come out any second now to grab this natural expansion without even knowing that this pool is there. So this could be a miscalculation on Cuch's part if ParAdoX goes for that opening of early speedlings, because okay, so now Cuch knows there's something up and is patrolling this between the ramp and the natural expansion, because okay, we could see speedlings come out in which he would be able to see it. We could see a drone come down try to take this natural expansion and we would see it. So trying to cover those two spots at once with that probe, and hopefully trying to delay this natural if he chooses to do so. Cuch getting his cyber core out. Very standard play from Protoss, getting his second gas, and ParAdoX already has his second gas going by the time Cuch starts his, so we could see some gas heavy build from ParAdoX. Core finishes, we should see Warp Tech start any second. Electing to go speed on the Zerglings that he's getting 4 at the moment. He sends them out possibly to do some scouting, and he sees this probe trying to take it out because he does want to grab that natural at some point, and that with that probe there I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He cancels the patrol, throwing down a pylon, trying to prevent that natural expansion, but ParAdoX was able to take it out. Those 4 lings were just too much for that poor little pylon. Cuch scouting the bottommost expo and its natural to see if he's thrown down any ninja expansions, but doesn't scout that. Getting an early layer from ParAdoX, so we could see Spire Tech, we could see all sorts of things. We could see Infestors even. Ooh, that'd be pretty cool. Alright, Cuch is getting a Stargate. Oh, that's interesting. We could see some Void Ray Harass or Phoenix Harass coming out at some point. Warp Tech going down, as we're seeing both players just macro up at the moment. Not many units coming down from either of them. So we'll see how this happens. This is going to evolve into a macro game, which happens a lot on these large 4-player maps spawning in cross positions. So we see these 4 lings that took out that poor innocent probe, and pylon actually. He's going to take out another probe. Oh, those poor robots. Okay, so he's going to take these out for some more scouting. He's going to see no natural expansion here. Well, he's going to completely miss that. He's going to check out these zealots, try to run to his base, but he puts down a force field, perfect force field right there, leaving the zealots and the zerglings out of his base. And that was brilliant, in my opinion. He was able to keep all the zealots out, clean up those lings without any of them slipping into his main. So it was quick reaction, quick thinking from Kutch. And that's very good play that we've seen a lot of in this tournament. So ParAdoX finally grabbing his natural expansion. And I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit because this is a very, very long game. In order to keep this in 2 videos, we're going to have to cut some time a bit. So I'm going to throw up ×2 speed here, so everything's going to move really fast. So, ooh, I'm mining. He's mining so much faster now. Holy crap, Chrono Boost actually does 100% increase in build time, or decrease in build time? Whoa, that's cool. ParAdoX getting an infestation pit and Hydralisk Den. I don't know if I said that already, but I've had to cast this game once already, like completely all the way through, so I've already seen this. And the reason why I had to cast it all the way through is because my sound was really weird. I have a pretty old, well not old, but a bad headset on because it's gone through some abuse on my part. I've stood up and tried to walk around and I would yank the cord out there, and I'd get frustrated because I get 4-gated and just throw it or something. Well, not throw it, but like, you know, drop it. Things like that. So it sounds really weird sometimes because the circuitry was off. And when I was looking over the recording, it was like, wait a minute, why do I sound like Stephen Hawking having sex with Wally? It sounded really bizarre. So let's slow this down a bit. Kutch has a Void Ray outside of his natural. We see some Phoenixes move out to this bottommost expansion with a Void Ray and another Phoenix behind it. So Kutch is hopefully going to try to harass this natural expansion a bit. And right now ParAdoX has a queen. He has another queen in his main. He has 3 Hydralisks on the way with 2 Evo chambers. So he's going to be able to throw down Spore Crawlers if he needs them when this attack hits. He's going to be able to possibly fungal growth some of these air units, and with those Hydralisks he could be able to take out a significant amount of them. So we'll see how this, we'll keep an eye on this as this happens. Kutch getting another Phoenix out, rallying them down, moving out with these units. Oh, he actually has them rallied on them, so he's able to reinforce them really quickly. I didn't catch that the first time. The supply is 92 over 68, both players supply blocked. These Phoenixes here to, of course, try to lift that queen as the Void Ray charges up on it. That's exactly what he does. These Hydralisks trying to take out that Phoenix that's holding that queen in the air, and doesn't finish off that Phoenix. He's focusing down the Void Ray. He loses the Void Ray, as all he's left was these Phoenixes that could take out an Overlord. Doesn't quite do it. Gets a fungal growth, 2 fungal growths on these Phoenixes. They can't move. They're taking damage over time. Okay, so now they're freed. And Queen is out of range. The Queen is back in range now. These Hydralisks just chilling at the bottom. Doesn't care that there's Phoenix in his base. Has to resort to making infested Terrans. Oh, sorry about the lag. Has to make infested Terrans to clean up those Phoenix. In my opinion, infested Terrans are kind of silly units. You know, it's kind of weird that they spawn out of the egg with a gun. You know, that just seems kind of weird to me. And I also find it gruesome that they actually kill themselves when they die. See, watch, they're gonna shoot themselves at some point when they run out of time. I see that. Blah, boom, oh no. That's that's one way to tell you I quit. Yeah, if I get a job and I quit, I'm just gonna do that in front of them. No, that's pretty bad. I shouldn't have joked about that. That was awful. Kutch finally realizes he's supply block, throwing down 3 pylons. He's also getting robotics, so we could see Immortal Tech or Colossus Tech, because he did see these roaches and these hydralisks during these attacks, so we could see either of those happen at some point in the game. We're likely to get more Void Rays, so we could see Colossus Void from Protoss, which is becoming very popular in Protoss versus Zerg. And we're seeing more Infestors come out, we're seeing more Hydralisks come out. So he is doing a Roach Hydra Infestor build, which it's a lot better than it used to be, at least Infestors were, until the new patch. Because the new patch does more damage per second for fungal growth, and it does more damage to armored units. So if Kutch is getting a lot of Stalkers, which it doesn't look like he is, but these Void Rays, Stalkers, and Colossus will take that extra damage from that fungal growth. So if we do see some good fungal growth going down, that's going to hurt him quite a bit. Kutch has 2 Forges, chrono boosting out those critical upgrades that he needs to, as neither player is choosing to attack each other. So in order to cut some more time off this video, I'm going to do ×2 speed. So a Robotic Spay going down for Kutch, so we're going to see some Colossus play, which is very good against these Hydralisks, unless you have a lot of roaches, which it looks like he does. So we'll see that. We'll see how that battle turns out, because that's a very interesting battle. A big Protoss ball versus a Roach Hydra ball, especially one that's this Zealot heavy, because both Hydralisks and Roaches do very well against Zealots. Kutch is grabbing his 3rd, which is a pretty big turning point in Protoss versus Zerg, because as a Zerg player you usually want to stay 1 base ahead of the Protoss player, or else the Protoss is just going to macro so hard, get all those upgrades that he needs to, get a huge massive units that just overwhelms all of the Zerg Forces guys. So this is a pretty important turning point here, the fact that Kutch has an extra base on the Zerg, and throwing down 4 extra gateways, Kutch macroing like a maniac at the moment, and that really is become his style, as I've noticed, is that he doesn't do anything fancy, he doesn't do anything tricky with rushes or like nasty drops or Dark Templars and such. He sits back and macros, try to outproduce the opponent, and you know skip all the bullshit.